Sportico published WNBA team evaluations. How much are WNBA teams worth? Not much. If you want to see the Caitlin Clark effect, here it is. Bad team, small market, and they are worth more, the Indiana Fever, than the Los Angeles Sparks, the Dallas, Atlanta, Washington teams, and almost equal to a team in Chicago. This is a bad team in a small market. I feel like I'm watching a little bit like when Tiger Woods, a little bit, came to the PGA Tour. Suddenly, within a year or two or three, all the purses, all the golf purses started to explode. It lifted all boats. But the difference is Bryce Harper to baseball, Tiger Woods to golf, let's say Conor McGregor to the UFC, they did not save those sports. Golf was making money. Baseball's always made a ton of money. Dana White and UFC were making money. It did, however, illuminate those sports to a greater level. More people watched. More people were interested. But the WNBA, since its inception in 1996, I think 97 was the first year they played, they've lost big money every year. The losses aren't as sizable last year and the previous 7 or 8 years, but they were like $10 million. Losing money. In fact, so much so that in 2018, teams moved to smaller arenas. In a city of 10 million people, New York, the Liberty, we're averaging 1,700 people a game.
It's crazy.
The WNBA Finals this past year got 700,000 viewers, about half of what the newly formed UFL championship game got.
You realize random YouTube videos get average more viewers than that. I mean, that is more telling than anything else.
Caitlin Clark, to some degree, is saving the WNBA. This is not Conor McGregor. The UFC was ascending and profitable. This is not Bryce Harper to baseball. Teams in baseball are and remain flush with cash. This wasn't exactly Tiger Woods to golf. You still had legendary tournaments like the U.S. Open, the British Open, the Masters that people watch and coveted. That's not so with the WNBA. It is an incredibly harsh truth. This league was in some trouble. They weren't making money. They were downsizing arenas. Nobody's watching the final. And it has been totally subsidized. Not sort of, kind of, remotely, totally subsidized by the NBA. But that's okay. That is okay. Lots of businesses have to be subsidized. Lots of businesses need a catalyst to take them from nonprofit to big profit. But never forget this. This is the Caitlin Clark effect. She may not be good enough to be on the Olympic team, but she is easily the greatest player. Without even playing half a season, she is the greatest player for business in the history of the league. And it's not close. These valuations, I'll throw it out there, will be worth 3 times this much. Okay, so right now the Indiana Fever is worth $90 million, and they've been around for years. These will triple. These will triple within 24 months. The valuations of these teams will triple. The Las Vegas Aces will be worth somewhere in the $300 million. Think I'm crazy? Yeah. It's amazing what Beckham and Messi did to the MLS. They got that big Apple TV contract. It's amazing what a star can do. It's okay that it was subsidized by the WNBA. It's okay that it wasn't a big profit center. A lot of companies need a catalyst. But let's not kid ourselves here. Caitlin Clark is easily the greatest player in that league's history in terms of business. And the only reason these lights are on in this studio is not sports. It's business.
So I think this is an interesting story. And I was trying to think of which angle I wanted to you go from here with regards to Caitlin Clark, because we've obviously been talking about Caitlin Clark a lot, and we've unpacked it a lot from all various angles. And the one thing that I want to emphasize, there's a few things that I want to emphasize in this clip, is that I think it's a shame that we can't universally give Caitlin Clark her flowers for doing this for the WNBA, right? I mean, it's indisputable what she's doing for the WNBA. I wouldn't even say she's saving it. She's single-handedly creating it, because the WNBA is nothing. I mean, it's like nothing when you're getting 1,700 people. I mean, I could go outside and gather 1,700 people for like a hot dog eating contest in my backyard. And this is supposed to be the WNBA, right? And it's like, again, like, where are all the women? Why aren't women watching this? You know how many women are in New York City? Why are they not out there watching it? So it's just interesting to me. And I think it's a shame that we can't universally praise Caitlin Clark for this. Like, we talk about wanting to live in a more accepting society, a more diverse society, and all of this, and then we just completely just reject Caitlin Clark and say that the reason why she's so popular is because she's like a straight white female. And I think that's just so wrong. And they were saying and that's why she's popular, and that's the opposite of what the WNBA has been for years. And that's why, where if she wasn't a straight white female, she wouldn't be as popular. And I was having this conversation with someone in the comments, and it's just like, that's fundamentally wrong, okay? Because the NBA is dominated by black male athletes, right? That's not up for debate. And then Steph Curry burst onto the scene and took the NBA by storm, and rose in popularity to levels that we had not seen for years and years and years and years. Okay, like and he's not white, so and yet he got all these new fans, lots of little kids, lots of little girls, grown women, like everyone from all different walks and backgrounds of life. We see this every year. Allen Iverson took over the NBA. Kobe Bryant took over the NBA. LeBron James obviously took over the NBA. And I mean, like, popularity-wise, Shaquille O'Neal. So the fact that we want to say that the only reason why Caitlin Clark is popular because of either her romantic preferences or the color of her skin, I think is so sad. Because those are the same people that are saying we need to be more diverse. We need to like look beyond this. And the truth is, I come from a place where I want to de-emphasize all this. I was thinking about this when I made the video yesterday, and I wish I said it, but I didn't. So I want to take the time to say it here. Like, everyone's so focused on their gender, the color of their skin, who they want to date, any of that type of stuff. And the truth is, it's the least interesting thing to me about all of them women. When I'm watching them play basketball, like, I'm not like, well, that's a white person, that's a black person, she's a woman, she's tall, she's small, she's this. She has a girlfriend, not a boyfriend. Oh, she's got a wife, not a husband. Like, I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm just watching these athletes play. Yeah, of course, I recognize that it's different from when men play, right? Like, you see that as clear as day. But once you get beyond that first initial, like, okay, this is a different game, I'm not looking at it of like, these are women. I'm not like, that's a nice shot for a woman. Wow, that was a great move for a woman. I'm just like, that was a great basketball play. That was a great shot. She's good. So it's just a shame that we can't then just appreciate it. And it was kind of a similar thing with the Tiger Woods. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I was old enough to really be around for the true uprising of Tiger Woods and what that meant within the golf community or just the society as a whole. And I understand, obviously, him being a black golfer, especially golf being historically pretty not inclusive, right, to say the least. And I think that obviously was really crossing, smashing boundaries, right, and barriers, I should say, which was obviously awesome, especially at the time. But it is a shame that had to have been the focus point, that we can't just say, look at this great golfer. And I would say that now into the future, right, years and years and years later, we're trying to build a society where if another Tiger Woods comes around, again, the color of his skin is irrelevant. It's the least interesting thing about him. that we're just looking at him as a golfer, as an athlete, right? And so the fact that we are saying that this is the world that we want to live in, and then we're doing the opposite with Caitlin Clark, you know, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And I think maybe in a way that's what Nick Wright was trying to say in that previous clip that I'd made the other day. I just think that that's not exactly what he said, and I think he's busy only blaming one side of that, and I think it's both sides at this point, because, you know, I took it as, to me, it was the other side that emphasized, you know, Caitlin Clark's race and all of this, and I think it's the opposite. And I just think that these things, I think it's frustrating, quite honestly, because the story of Caitlin Clark should be just such a universal positive one, and it's just not. And this is what I think the other side is failing to grasp, that someone like me, who has an incredibly diverse and wealth of experience from a diversity standpoint, and I have plenty of favorite athletes of all different backgrounds, ages, gender, race, whatever, however we want to define it. And yet, when I'm online and I'm interacting with people, when Caitlin Clark first rises, I'm like, oh, Caitlin Clark is legit. Like, that, she's fun to watch. And people are like, oh, yeah, you would say that because of blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what? And it's like, oh, I know who you voted in the election in 2020. And it's like, what are you talking about? And so you have to understand that that's the knee-jerk experience that you're then going to you have to understand. Well, then that's why that other side is then going to come full swing as well. And when that happens, it just becomes this perfect constellation of just erupting into nonsense. And again, both sides, like, because someone was saying, like, oh, you know, this is bad because all the Caitlin Clark fans, we know what they do. They have tiki torches. And it's like, what are you talking about? And then someone else was bringing up in the comment section about, oh, you know, all Caitlin Clark's fans are MAGA. And it's like, that's just fundamentally incorrect. That's just like, it's just like what you're saying is just so wrong. It's just so wrong. And to think that you see a fan base of a player is inherently dangerous is horrifying to me. Okay? Because I could tell you, I know my parents, you know, were interested in Caitlin Clark and watching Caitlin Clark as much as old people could. And they aren't that at all. They could not be more opposite of that. So it's just dead wrong. Just dead wrong. And so I just think it's such a shame that this can't be embraced more, because if it was, there would be even more money to be made. There would be even more fame for all of these women. There would be more endorsements for all of these women. The ratings would be even higher if they just embraced it and were excited. And I think what's also really a shame is that Caitlin Clark will probably never get the true credit she deserves, because when this league continues to grow and these franchises continue to grow in their worth and all of that, they'll still claim that it wasn't Caitlin Clark. And imagine taking away Tiger Woods' impact on golf. It's just, and again, the race to me in carrying the popularity, like, again, I know Tiger Woods, to me, the color of his skin was probably the entry, you know, the ticket for entry for popularity originally, from the average Joe person to be like, oh wow, you know, that's unique, that's interesting, I haven't seen that. But it was his dominance that led him to stay and truly take over the world from a golfing standpoint. You know, like, after 5-6 years, however many years, like, nobody was like, that's a black golfer. They were just like, that's Tiger. Like his race shielded away. At first, it was the, look at this. This is new. This is interesting. This is this is something that the world has not really seen. And so that was like, that got eyeballs to the screen. But again, after that, to me, that faded away, and now it's like, again, it'll be the least interesting part about him. And I think we've seen that with plenty of other athletes in the past. So I just think that it is a shame that we can't just universally embrace this and see the positives of it. And it does have to become such a divisive thing. Because another athlete that I can think of is Floyd Mayweather, who's obviously black, because he keeps bringing up UFC. And the truth is, like, boxing has been struggling for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And Mayweather really kind of kept it afloat, right? You know, because of his dominance, right? It wasn't because of the color of his skin. He is wildly popular, right? For both reasons. People love to root for him and people love to root against him. But it was his dominance, the fact that he kept winning and winning and winning and winning and winning, and his personality, Floyd Money Mayweather, and all of that is what kept eyeballs on the screen, right? It's why people would watch, you know, whatever the show on HBO was. It was essentially like Hard Knocks, like boxing 24/7, or I forget exactly what it was, but they would have like 4 or 5 episodes leading into the fight. And I watched that all the time when I was, you know, back when Mayweather was like actually boxing and watching the HBO things. Me and my friends would get together. It was like every Friday night we'd watch that, and then it would lead into the fight. And again, the color of his skin didn't matter at all. So, or anything else with regards to that. So I do think it's a shame. And I'm hopeful, though, that we can eventually just put this to bed and just, you know, what will it take to embrace Caitlin Clark? I think a huge portion of people will never accept Caitlin Clark's greatness and what she's done for the WNBA. I personally think it'll continue to be divisive because we're talking about something that so many people care. And inherently, people, I'm talking to someone right now in the comment section, they think that what I said in my previous video was divisive and promoting hate. And it's like, what are you talking about? Anyone who's been watching my videos and my channel for the months leading up to this video, no one could say that I'm spreading hate or promoting, you know, divisiveness and negativity and any of that. I am wildly inclusive and try to always offer all perspectives from all different backgrounds and look at things from 360 degrees. And as you guys all know, I try to de-emphasize the whole political backgrounds of all of this type of stuff. This topic has been unavoidable, quite honestly, but I could be talking about all of these things that could be negative, but my videos are majority positive and trying to celebrate the athletes rather than bring them down. And it's just always funny to me. I mean, these people, they can't give it up. If I make a video talking about Josh Allen, it's because I want a great white savior. And it's like, I just made a video about how good I think Jordan Love is. Like, what are you talking about? Or how good Jalen Hurts is. Like, what are we talking about? So the conversation has just degraded to just such low levels sometimes, and we don't afford people the better intentions. And I think it's just we have to fundamentally change how we address these topics, how we view the world as a whole. And quite frankly, I don't know what it's going to take, but I am just confident that whatever we're doing wrong. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caitlin Clark and her just being the sole reason why the WNBA is truly exploding from a business standpoint? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.